I wasn't excited about it the first time I heard about it. Oh, no. Here's what happened. It all started with my wife's best friend, Colette. She'd just gone through a bitter divorce, which left her with 5 kids, a huge attorney bill, and no money. And she needed some work, so I hired her as my executive assistant. After a few months, she came to ask my advice. Bob, she says, I've been talking to my brother about a company he's involved in called Usana. He's been showing me how I could earn some extra income, and I think I'm going to do it. I said, well, what kind of company is it? And she says, well, it's a network marketing company that markets nutritional supplements based upon the research of one of the world's leading experts in human cells. Well, that's all she had to say, and my mind snapped shut, and I told her, don't do it. Well, above my objections, she does it anyway. She says she has a good feeling about it. Well, one day she leaves a video at our house, and my wife and I pop it in the VCR and start watching. And I'll never forget to this day what happened. I'm watching a 12-minute segment where the founder of the company comes on, a Dr. Myron Wentz. I'd never heard of him. And he says, we live too short and we die too long. And my intuition kicks in. It's whispering to me, this is the one. Well, have you ever had a hunch where a part of you knows that something is right even though another part of you was still skeptical? Well, I usually listen to my intuition. It was a hunch just like this that inspired me to start investing in real estate in the 70s, just before the huge boom. Remember those days? I made a fortune. And it was my intuition that inspired me to write my first book, Nothing Down. I quit my job as an investment counselor, dropped everything, and started to write with no idea how I'd get it published. Do you know what the odds are of getting a book published these days? 10,000 to 1. Do you know what the odds are that that book becomes a bestseller? It's astronomical. Well, a part of me just knew that if I just followed my hunches that something good was going to happen. How could I have known that Nothing Down would become, and still is, the largest selling real estate investment book in history, a #1 New York Times bestseller. And my second book, Creating Wealth, was also a #1 bestseller. Then I had a hunch to start a seminar company, which in the next 15 years taught over 100,000 people how to become financially independent. You see, when I have a hunch, it's usually a good one. And when it comes to that video, there was no question. My intuition was screaming, this is the one, this is the one. And so Colette calls me the next morning and says, well, did you watch the video? And I said, yes. And she said, well, what did you think? And do you know what I said? Colette, I just don't think I'm interested. Well, she didn't let my negativity stop her. She took my wife to lunch, and they decided to go ahead without me. I was so negative, I wouldn't even sign the application. And before long, the checks started to flow, just like Colette said they would. Now it's several years later, and a very, very, very large check lands in our mailbox every Monday, but it doesn't have my name on it. Oh, no, it's my wife's check. Mr. Skeptical here didn't want anything to do with it. Boy, was I wrong. So my wife gets the check, and occasionally she shares some of it with me. Now, she and I just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary, and I'm looking forward to the next 20 because I'm married to a very rich woman. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how you can get your name on checks like the one she gets, but only if you're smarter than I was. Now, why do you think I voted against my own intuition? I knew better. It had never failed me in the past. Well, I made some snap judgments that were wrong. I assumed that this Usana was